Valley Forge that doesn't have 3 30-06 hunting rifles, a couple of AR-15s, they've got probably 7 or 8 22s, one for each kid in the family, they got 4 or 5 pistols, they got broken bottles, they got sharp sticks, they are ready to go. And yet, there is no real violent crime in those neighborhoods. Why? If it's the guns, then why? Now, of course, to our intellectual betters in Washington, and in the news media, and in the pop culture, we can't count Valley Forge because of those knuckle-dragging groups out in the flyover country. So let's give them a European example that they might find interesting. Right about 3 days within days of the Newtown massacre, where those children were murdered, not by a weapon that flew up into the air, but by a deranged individual. Within 2 or 3 days of that shooting, I forget which side it was on, they did a survey, an annual survey of the happiest countries in the world. Do you know who was number 1? Used to be us, we're not anymore, we're 16th now. No, the happiest country in the world is Switzerland. You know what's interesting about Switzerland?
Yeah, guys.
Mandatory military training for every civilian, and virtually every single house in Switzerland has within it a fully automatic military weapon. You know how many mass shootings they have in Switzerland? 0. 0.
Okay.
If it's the guns, and you have an entire country where every household virtually has fully automatic weapons lying there, why doesn't Switzerland have these mass shootings? Because Swiss entertainment is the sound of music. You may think that I'm about to blame Hollywood for this, but I don't blame Hollywood. You know why? Because Hollywood didn't pull the trigger on those kids. That individual pulled the trigger on those kids. No one else did it. And if you ask Hollywood about their role in this kind of culture, well, no, we're not responsible for this. No. We should have our First Amendment rights to say whatever we want to in the movies. In other words, don't take anything from us. We're not responsible. Take it away from people who have things that we don't have. But I'll tell you this. What's especially interesting about the cultural angle to me is this. You could blame it on the movies. You could blame it on the violence that children see on television every day. But we've had violent movies in America since there's been movies. The first feature film was Birth of a Nation, which was nothing but gunfights and people running around shooting each other. John Wayne would shoot people, and somebody get shot. They go, oh! And down they go, oh! Now, when you hear about these lonesome kids, these kids who had a death wish anyway, these sad, terribly neglected, fatherless boys, almost all of them, when you hear about these kids, they're often referred to as the black trench coat crowd. You know why? Well, because Trinity and Neo walking into the lobby in the first of the Matrix movies, where they shoot up those people, is one of the most magnificent, glorious, wonderful pieces of cinema ever. And bullet casings are coming out in slow motion, and people are going down like this, and they're doing flips through the air and upside down, and it's absolutely energizing, and it's virtually erotic. And before this happened, we had people getting shot with guns on movie screens, but we never had these kind of mass shootings. The mass shootings have only happened since the movies have not given us heroes. John Wayne doesn't go around murdering people by the thousands. John Wayne, when he has to use his weapon, uses it to defend innocent people, not to murder them. It's the presence of the anti-hero. It's this nihilistic, anarchistic love of violence and death that is fed into our children's heads 7, 8 hours, 10 hours a day, every single day of their lives.
That's right.